Good evening, everybody. My name is David Baer. I'm here as president of Seminole, as well as president of the Lake Tuscarora Association. My address is 921 Tuscarora Trail. As has been pointed out, we're basically here pursuant to and under the framework of this deal that happened in 2008, a deal that brought a lot of land that was all owned by the Yarboroughs down to Track 3. In exchange for that, they got $30 million. In exchange for that, they got...
Mr. Baer, can we please stay with the water system? That's what we're discussing.
I am 100% sticking with the water. You'll see. Just give me a little margin, please. They got $30 million, and they got the right to transfer development interest from those other parcels onto this. What they did not get, they did not get the right to build a central waste facility. 9 months ago, that's what they were here asking for. They no longer are, thankfully. They did not get the right to build residential units less than 1 acre. 9 months ago, they were asking for that. They're no longer anymore. Thank you. They also, at the time, did not get the right to build a central water treatment facility. They are still here asking for that. If they wanted that extra right, that was the time to get it. When they, at the time, got $30 million, if they had wanted those extra rights or extra twigs, so to say, maybe they wouldn't have gotten $30 million. But instead, they're here trying to get that extra right for free. I don't think that's appropriate. They got $30 million of public money, and now they're trying to get something extra on top of it. The comprehensive plan is incredibly clear. You've heard the rule and the text read over and over. Staff did an excellent job in interpreting it. It provides for very specific exceptions as to when this can happen. This is not one of them. There's really no doubt about it. Rules are important. Text is very important. Those rules are there for land use planning. Land use planning is not just ad hoc, how do we feel at this moment? Well, this might seem like a good idea right now. Land use planning, legal rules are there to place guardrails and systems into place that everybody follows. That's exactly what we have right here. What are those rules about? Those rules are not about how do we preserve water. Those rules are about how do we preserve certain growth characteristics. So the applicant is here, and their strongest argument they've made is that they believe and they provided some evidence that this might preserve water. That's not what the rule's about at all. It's really irrelevant. The rules deter high-density growth, which ironically is the very reason that they're here. They're here to try to eviscerate the rule because they want to embark on this high-density development. The rule is there to deter that for them and for future development. Make no mistake, they might claim that this is not a precedent, but it doesn't take a lawyer to recognize that if one applicant is given an exception and the next applicant is not, that next applicant has a very strong legal case for, well, they were picking on me, they were prejudiced against me. Saying it's not a precedent doesn't really change that. The barrier that's in place here is on purpose to keep profit margins down, candidly. And why is the applicant here trying to do this? Well, it's not because they care about our water table. It's because they're trying to increase their profit margin, which is fine, and I don't begrudge them for that. But it's the government's job to protect our county, to protect the citizens. It's not the government's job to increase their profit margins.
Excuse me, please.
The rule that we've been talking about was disparaged earlier because it's old. It was basically suggested it's anachronistic, that it's a relic, just because it was put in place in 1991. That really struck me as an odd analysis, because the age of a rule does not have anything to do with whether it's a good rule or not. I think everybody in this room thinks that there's a whole lot of rules that were put into place in the 1700s, which are still pretty important for us. So if rules put into place in the United States by our Constitution in the 1700s are important, I don't think anybody should be saying a rule put in place in 1991 is too old, so it's not important anymore. Thank you.
Thank you.